Right, so welcome. Now, should we just? I'll just click record and listen.
Yo,
like
it's
I
your
said,
boy.
yeah. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the DeeSports podcast. It's your boy Dilly D.
If you've not already, guys, go down there, hit that subscribe button, get that bell on, get notified when we upload.
On that note, we're not gonna do it like that. We're gonna hit record. We're gonna sit back, relax, and we're gonna
Some like massive explosion, like yo, what's up?
Right, so yeah, we're chilling. We're here. We're gonna record a podcast. It's not gonna be formal. I'm just gonna hit record, and we're gonna kick back and talk about what we usually talk about, innit?
We're just gonna talk about whatever comes to mind.
Whatever comes to mind. After noggin.
Whatever comes to mind. Oh, I'm really hungry in a minute. I could do a sandwich. Yeah.
Mate, stop it. My watch is going nuts right now. Siri, chill out. Right, let's do it. Anyways, why are we putting together the podcast?
So
that's the big question.
We wanted not only for the people's benefit to be able to see, like, maybe if people wanted an insight into like behind the scenes, into like the ideas behind the tournaments and stuff, and like why we got involved with them. It's also a little sort of video diary for us to keep track of where we're at in terms of how we're doing with tournaments and how we're doing with the Twitch and everything, how we're handling life at the minute.
100%, man, because we're normal people, innit?
Exactly.
We're out here.
Everyday normal people.
We're out here.
Incredible as we might seem, we are normal people.
Yeah, man, that's what it's about. We want like a VOD and a vlog of episodes that we can go back through in the future and potentially see how far we've come, or, figure out, where we come up with certain ideas, and have like a little bit of a diary, like you say, so that we can like go back through it all and hopefully have some amazing ideas that comes from this. You know what I mean? Because we're gonna sit here and have these conversations anyway, aren't we? Because
yeah, exactly.
By the way, MadTube
I can't count.
Is admin, just in case you don't know about him.
Oh yes,
a little bit of an introduction.
If people haven't seen my face before, hello.
That's different.
I am MadTube. I'm the man behind the scenes. I'm the man in production that D always shouts at in the other corner of the room.
Yeah. He's there now. He's in the corner of the room.
This is the other corner of the room. Yeah. You never normally see this corner.
Yeah, I've got a big room, honestly. Yeah, 2 beds and everything. Yeah, it's mad. No, but so we might as well start with that then. That's a good point to start, and I think we go off how we really met and how we got to this point, started recording this podcast. So I feel like a good place to start is with why we started DeeSports in general. Let's go through that, and then we'll go through, how we met and stuff like that.
I'll let you lead with how we started, because obviously I wasn't around from the very initial conception, from the start of.
Well, I'll take you on my story, and then you can just kind of slot in where you want, and bounce off and see what you think. So, DeeSports Gaming, man, what a crazy name that is. Do you know how long it took me to come up with that name? By the way, like, honestly, I was going through like a million names, and I know it's not even a big deal, but I'm so like what's the word? I'm like a perfectionist, yeah. So I was like, oh, it's got to be something to do with like Dilly D, because that's what I'm called. Like that's my name. Like, my friends call me it. I've been called it since school. Like, Dilly D is just what stuck with me, because obviously Dylan, and I wanted it something around that. I wanted it something that was kind of cool and fits in with the whole esports brand kind of thing as well. The kind of the way that I want it to go. Yeah. And then I don't know how I ended up going with DeeSports Gaming. I had like Dilly DeeSports Gaming, Dilly Gaming, and all this different sort of stuff.
Because obviously when I first came across the tournaments, for example, and I saw the name DeeSports Gaming, I thought to myself, obviously not knowing who was behind the scenes at the time, and then learning that it was a guy called Dylan behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you went by Dilly D, and I thought, DeeSports and esports, it just fits so well together.
It does, and it really does. And I've actually had so many people get in touch with me and say, like, it's the coolest name. You know what I mean? It's just got a ring to it. Like, as soon as you say it, you can instantly know what it's
got
about.
it's
It's
quick off the
esports, you
tongue,
know what I mean?
is
It's
which is good.
DeeSports, esports. Yeah, I'm 100%, and I love it, and it's something that I just know I'm gonna stick with no matter what because it's my passion in general. You know what I mean? Like I'd be doing it,
Yeah.
I'd be playing video games, and I'd be doing all of this, even if DeeSports wasn't a thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because I
exactly.
love it
Yeah.
that much. So, anyways, the reason where it all kind of started. I've always kind of been into competitive gaming. I've always been into gaming in general, really, casual gaming as well. And since like back in the day, since we were playing Call of Duty 4, you know, and beyond. So one of the main things that got me into that was a thing called game battles. Have you ever heard of it? It's like a
I heard about it a while ago. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like
It was like an
it was like an
independently set up.
online
Yeah.
yeah, it's like an independent online platform where people can go to, and I honestly think it's still around now that you can go on and you can sign up for different tournaments here and there, and you can play like the Sunday League version of esports, you know, where it's like
Yeah.
you can go in and you and your mates can just have a kick about and see how you can get on in the gaming world.
It was like it was the first real sort of perspective of like be taking casual gaming to the
Yeah.
next level, but
Well,
not
this is
being
it.
like fully esports.
I completely agree. I think it was one of those things for me where I was only young at the time. I think when I first found out about it, must have been about 13, say. And I'm 24 now, you know what I mean? So I've been into it since the start. And like I'm not talking about gaming. I'm talking about when I first figured out competitive gaming. And I was like, wow, I actually love this. Like I've always been that guy, like out of my friend group. And I know Jake's probably watching this. Like, you know, 1864, who I play with a lot. Like, me and him have always been the characters to be like, right, we're not just going to be good at this game. We're going to be the best we can be at this game and make sure that we beat every single person. And I remember messaging Jake behind the scenes like, yo, man, like, we need to get better than everyone right now because that's something that, you know, I'm really interested in. Like, you know what I mean? I want to beat the competition. And that's, I think, what esports is just all about. You know, if you're into esports, you've probably got that side to you as well, the 100% competitive side.
A lot of that competitive side, it does come from a lot of like, especially whilst you're playing your casual games, a lot of it comes from like, you know, I want to be top of the leaderboard. I want to be,
exactly.
You know, I want to win. I want
it's
to
a
win
sport,
this
isn't
game.
it? That's what it says it in the name, esports. Like, it is a sport. It does have the competitive side to it. And I know, and by the way, my story is going to link onto the start of DeeSports, so I am going to be waffling a lot during this podcast.
That's all right. Don't worry, mate. That's fine.
So the thing is, I've realized, like, throughout my childhood and throughout my gaming experience growing up, I always used to look at these big COD tournaments, you know, the likes of Fortnite and all this stuff coming to the table, and all of these pro players like were playing, and it looked insane, and I was like, oh my god, imagine just being able to like play. You know, I wouldn't even want to win. Like, obviously I'd go in to try and win, but I wouldn't even want to win. I just want to have a chance of like being in those lobbies with the hype around it, like, and
exactly.
It's the experience in general that I buzz off. I buzz off. It's not just a game, you know. It's more than a game. It's got a completely different side to it. Like, I understand there's a lot of people in the world that see gaming as like a pastime, you know, a chill out space, and that's completely fine. But what I'm trying to say,
like they're coming from work, they play like an hour or two, just to wind down
completely.
From work.
And that's what I'd fit into the casual gaming.
100%, yeah, 100%. But that's where you realize that. That's where you start from, and you realize that progressively as you start to like more and more games, for example, and like you like get hooked on a particular game, and it makes you want to play more, and then you get to the point of like, oh, I want to get good at it, so you end up. I mean, I don't know about you, but personally, I have done the several games that I have done research for, and will continue to do research for when I'm not playing the game to work out how I can be better the next time I play
100%, man. 100%. Like, I think a lot of casual gamers in general as well, like, don't know that there's this side to it where like it is like a sport. It's more of a sport than a game anymore. It's not like a pastime. It's more of a, you know, a hobby that you're literally going to be putting time and effort into.
Especially in today's day and age as well, with so many of the AAA games that have been coming out over the last, let's say 5 years maybe, that 100%. Have had this like tailored competitive side, so it's already had a competitive side
Yeah.
pushed into it. That was like one of my main problems with when because I'm a huge Halo fan. My background is massively Halo.
I love that.
That's where my love for Halo kind of died off a little bit, because when Halo 5 came out, they really pushed this competitive side to Halo 5. And as a solo player in Halo 5, it was very difficult to play competitively. Even though I was really good and I really enjoyed playing the series, and I love the series to bits. It's like literally my roots, this game. I fell off from Halo 5 quite a lot because I didn't have that sort of team around me that 343, the developers of Halo 5, were pushing for the competitive side of this game. And whilst the competitive side was separate to the casual side, so you could play in different areas, the competitive side still leaked into the casual side.
100%.
So you'd get tournament rules. So you'd get tournament weapons, tournament timings, tournament game modes that were forced into the casual mode, so that people who played casual could try out the tournament modes and see whether or not they liked it. But a lot of that for me, I could never find a team that was good enough, because I've always been good, but never been able to find people who can be good with me.
That's incredible that you just said that, right? Because that was exactly my next point. So the point I was leading on from there is exactly what you've just said. The hardest part about anyone who is interested in getting into esports, or, transitioning over from being a casual gamer, and maybe you've got that thought in the back of your head, like, yeah, I kind of want to get involved with some competitions here. I feel like, I could give it a good go if I had the right team members of the squad behind me, you know what I mean? But that is and that is something that I've dealt with hands-on, is finding the right people that are going to be as passionate as you are towards going into esports, whether it's, a casual competition, or whether you're just going to have a game of Warzone or anything. You need that. Yeah. But this is something that, so linking on to, I was talking about all of this leading up to why we started DeeSports. And DeeSports isn't just a platform where we host tournaments and, we play video games and I stream and that's it. No, it's a brand. It's more of a brand wide. Well, that's the word I'm looking for. It's a brand. You know what I mean? It's a platform for people to communicate with each other, see what's going on, look and find new players. I just want everyone to be under this roof of DeeSports where we can all just, help each other and grow together. And that's something I've said from the start. Like, if one of us does well, we all do well. You know what I mean? Like, that's the side I see it. I don't see it as just, it's not just me streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday and doing tournaments on the odd occasion. No, I'm trying to grow a complete esports brand. The likes of 100 Thieves.
I think that's what's quite good about DeeSports gaming, and that's probably one of the vibes that came off when I first joined, is that it felt more like a community of people.
That's exactly the word I was looking for.
Than it did, rather than a platform to sign up for esports tournaments.
Now, that's important you just said that as well, because I've had that message of so many people. Like, I'm not dropping names or anything, but I've had so many people since we first started message me and say, like, I appreciate what you've started here. Like, I didn't even have anyone that would play Warzone with me at the start, and now I can hop into the DeeSports Discord, go in looking for players, or go in the general chat and genuinely just have conversations with the community that love it just as much as I do. Yeah, and that is my goal right there, man. And that goal is never going to change. Like, that is the fundamental goal of DeeSports. I want to create this community of people that are like-minded, and that you can come into it and no one's going to judge you on anything. I mean, you could be the worst player ever, but I guarantee that you'll find other players that will want to play with you and help you grow. And, that's what it's about. That's definitely the fundamentals for me.
Exactly. I mean,
go on.
Great example. I mean, I'm sure he won't mind me using his name, but my dad, for example. Now, my dad is a ex-competitive player. So he was the start. He was the generation that started esports, basically.
That's so cool.
And he played Kingpin. I don't know if you remember Kingpin.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's
He
find that. Wow.
he played competitive Kingpin, and he was in like tournaments for Kingpin. And like when I say tournaments, I mean like he would have been in, because it wasn't accepted as much as it is nowadays. For example, like you've got the likes of like you say like 100 Thieves and FaZe and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like if we had this established community of online gaming esports back then, he'd have been the FaZe of Kingpin.
Completely.
Like,
Let's
that's
let's
how that's
I've got
mental.
just so that everyone can see what Kingpin is. I want to show it because I feel like I definitely feel like that's one to watch. Look at this 1999 gameplay right now, mate. Look at these character models.
About 65 and change from Skid Row.
So with Kingpin, I'm not sure if it was one of the first teams to games, sorry, to bring in like a competitive edge.
Well, it was the first person shooter, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was the first person shooter vibe, but that's what started it, for example. But my dad was such a huge Kingpin player. He was massive. He could walk around the maps with his eyes closed, and he'd
crazy.
He'd be able to tell you where he was stood and where he was facing with his eyes closed. That's how
amazing.
much he played the game. And he would have like team meetings where they'd all meet up together and they'd all practice and they'd all play and stuff like that. So he is very much a competitive or ex-competitive esports gamer, and he is quite a big part of the DeeSports community now, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
And as he's gotten older, for example, he's gotten less and less time to play, so naturally your skills deteriorate because you have less and less time to play. You've got more and more important things on your mind. We had me. I have two brothers. So even now, you'll see him playing like games now, and he's not the best. He's not the fastest. He doesn't have the best reaction times. But I know for a fact that there are people that like him because of him.
Yeah, because his character.
Not because he's a cracked sniper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And that's what it's about.
That's what's really good about this community.
100%. And like as it grows, it will never swerve away from that. You know what I mean? Like we treat everyone the same, no matter how good your KD is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be one of those, like we'll constantly. Let me go back to one thing I was previously saying, just so that everyone can understand why we're talking about this, is because the reason I started the tournaments from the very, very beginning was because I feel like we could go off on the tangent here and continue to talk about it, but I'll bring it back for a second. Yeah, bookmark it. So the reason I started the tournaments in general.
Where are we? March, would you say?
Well, yeah, it was literally like about a month or two before that I was, getting everything ready, and so it must have been start of the year 2020 pretty much.
Yeah.
I had the idea of DeeSports. I came up with the name and stuff, and I was like, right, this is like a big jump for me, because bear in mind, I had a full-time job. I still have a full-time job. I have other kind of business ideas that I want to be trying out, and I'm kind of at that age and where the best way of me explaining it is I'm at an age now where I want to be experimental. I want to go and try as many different things as I can do, because I know that by the time I get to 30 and I have other commitments, I'm not going to really have that I'm not going to be able to take the risk. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Golden years.
Yeah, exactly. So in a sense, right, I want to commit to as much of my passions as possible right now, because this is it for me. Like my goal in life, and I'm sure it is the same for a lot of people out here like that are probably listening, but my goal is to have the freedom to do something that I enjoy every single day when I wake up. Like that's it. You know what I mean? And gaming for me is probably one of the most enjoyable things that I do in my life as well. You know what I mean? I have other things that I do. You know, I like going out on hikes. I like doing all the photography and stuff like this. But gaming is like one of those things which was like my untouched, like unspoke of kind of thing. You know, that I did by myself, like. And with like a certain amount of friends, like, and that's it. You know what I mean? I never in a million years would have thought I want to take gaming a little bit further and I want to make something of it. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But I came to the conclusion. I was like, right, no, this is definitely the time where I need to be trialing things. So, long story short, lockdown came around. You know, 2020 pandemic.
Let's say. And start, I'd say midway through March, I'd say.
Around March time. So that was literally the moment where I had this epiphany in my head and I was like, right, if I do not start this idea that I've had for so long now, I'm never ever going to have this opportunity again, because this is like probably one of the rarest opportunities in a lifetime where people are going to be inside, not going to work, playing video games. What more could I have asked for in terms of going through a business idea? Bear with me 1 second. I'm being interrupted with a burrito from the mother. Thank you very much.
Jealous.
Oh, nice. In the middle of a podcast here, Mum. Appreciate you.
Hello, everybody.
Oh God, right, here we go. Right, so as I was saying, the pandemic happened.
A lot of the pandemic, which we're not trying to take lightly here. We're not trying to treat it as if it was some, you know, opportunity that we could get behind. Of course, if you aren't aware and you've been living under a rock for the last 9 months, there was a global breakout of a virus called COVID-19. If you've been completely unaware, most people refer to it as coronavirus.
Wait, what was going on here? Are we giving them a background on the pandemic?
We're talking if people have been living under a rock for the last 8 months.
I don't know, man. I feel like they would have heard of COVID-19 even if they've got access to the internet right now to watch this podcast.
I'm thinking, you know, what if people 20 years want to know what was going on in 2020? Like, what happened in 2020?
I'm guaranteed. Listen, mate. I guarantee they will have heard of this. It's going to be on the exam questions for God's sake.
Imagine the history classes, right, that we do now. Right, all we've got is textbooks to talk about, like what happened in the past. These guys will have video proof of us talking about it.
Yeah, true. But listen, there's going to be a lot more proof than our DeeSports podcast on the internet. I'm telling you now, mate. Anyways,
yeah. Let's do a history exam on the coronavirus. Let's go to this DeeSports game.
It's one of those things. So
yeah. So I was just trying to highlight the fact that we weren't taking it lightly. We aren't saying that this lockdown we had to take advantage of. We're not trying to say that, you know, it was like some sort of blessing. Like,
no, I was never saying that, by the way. That is definitely not what I was saying. I was saying this, right, from a perspective of gaming, just gaming. Yeah, forget about everything else that's going on in the world. You can imagine in my head. Try and kind of imagine what I was thinking. So, the world went into a pandemic, and I had already had the DeeSports idea way before any announcement of a pandemic. You know, this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. So I had to see it as an opportunity to bring good to other people. You know, it was the only kind of thing that was going on at the time. I know a lot of people were having issues with mental health. Like, a lot of stuff was going on, which was sending people under, in a sense, you know. Yeah. So I was going to be one of those people, because I got put on furlough. You know, I had nothing to do with my days, and I knew that if I had no sort of schedule or I didn't do anything with my time, I probably wouldn't have come out of this good. You know what I'm saying? Like, this would have been a bad time for me as well.
I was exactly the same because I got hired in January for a job, and then by the time the pandemic hit and lockdown was announced in March, they started to trim the fat because they couldn't afford to keep everybody that they had working at the company.
Yeah.
because a lot of people were working from home, a lot of people were taking holidays, a lot of people were off sick because they had symptoms. So they had to cut the fat. And unfortunately, being the most recently hired, I was clearly the expendable. So I lost my job in March,
Yeah, it's been a tough time.
which has been a tough time, I have to admit.
Yeah.
And I had other personal issues going on as well. But I remember coming home the day that they let me go, and thinking to myself, right, well, I don't think anyone's going to be hiring during this sort of, global pandemic that was on the news 3 days ago, 4 days ago. And the prospect of like coming home, like you said, and having no schedule at all,
Yeah.
really made me think, like, what am I actually going to do? Because whilst I can hunt for a job and I can like work somewhere, the application process is still going to take a while. So I'm still going to have quite a lot of spare time by myself, where I'm at home having absolutely nothing to do with no schedule. So yeah, a lot of this, like finding DeeSports, and finding this little community, not only was it something that I thrived in because of, my background with gaming and me wanting to find people who are like-minded like me in the competitive side of things, but it also gave me a little doorway, a little opening for me to actually do something with my time rather than just wasting my time.
Yeah. That's definitely my point. I feel like what back onto kind of what I was saying, which is completely the same, like exactly what you're saying as well, is like it was more than just like me starting up my business idea. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It was more than just me being like, I want to run tournaments, It was like,
exactly.
If I don't do this now, I am never in my life going to have this chance to do it again, because
Exactly.
and for my own mental health, I needed to give myself, something to do that was pushing towards my passion, because I was insecure as well, mate. Like I have a full-time job in marketing, and I didn't know if I was going to go back to that job in marketing or not, because we had sites that had to shut and all sorts, so I was in the same boat as you. Thankfully, I'm back in work now, working from home and stuff, so it was, but at that time of uncertainty was the time where I literally had to go, okay, do I chase my dream in a sense, and do I just go for it, or do I just sit back and do nothing and carry on playing video games, with no intention to ever create anything or go any further with it? So was the reason I started with that, is because that's the kind of mindset that I was in. It was it was like a bit of a struggle to like initially start off, because I was in a weird place. And obviously after hearing what you've just said, like you were obviously in a weird place as well, because it's never easy, anything like that you have to deal with in your life, never mind a global pandemic that no one's ever seen before.
It was especially difficult for me because I've prided myself on having quite a good work ethic. Like I'll work full time 6 days a week and have one day to myself. And that's what I've done for the last 5 years of my life, 6 years of my life.
Yeah, it's completely the same for me. Yeah,
and having this like, boom, no job, and you can't get one.
It's a shock to the system, isn't it?
Was like, I'm so busy so often that to just sit down and do nothing was like.
Yeah, like, whoa, where am I? What's going on?
Yeah, what am I doing? It's like that scene from from Jumanji where he wakes up and he's like, "What year is this?"
Yeah, that's it. No, I completely agree, and I'm glad you've said that, because I feel like even some people that may watch this now can relate to it in a little sense, whether they did lose a job or whether they lost anything. Like
it was a really tough time for everyone.
Yeah, for every single person, every single human being on the planet, I feel like it was a tough time.
No matter what position you were in, you either your job was affected, either you lost it or your hours were affected.
Yeah.
knew someone or had a family member that was at high risk.
It was make or break, pretty much, in every sense. Is that what you're trying to say?
Literally everyone was in the situation where times were uncertain. No one knew what was going on.
Yeah.
The government were little to no help, let's be honest.
It was a tough one. It was. We won't make it political right now, but it was a tough one. I feel like it was one of those things where, like I don't know enough, man, but from my perspective, and again, I'm going back to what we were talking about first because I don't want to go off on a tangent. Like, the reason I started it was more than just gaming. It was like, right, I need to give myself something to do. I need to pursue my passion, and I need to give other people something good. Like, it was not just about me. Like, I was not just like, right, I'm gonna run some tournaments here and I'm gonna, take everyone's money off them and I'm just gonna scam them and I don't care about them. I'm not gonna do anything. The stream's not even gonna go live. I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
DeeSports corrupts, guys. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
So like, I can understand. Like, wait, no, let me restart. So, my first point was like, yeah, I needed to give to other people, and I feel like gaming and my passion was something that I could use and I could utilize.
It wasn't a selfish, like, you started it to make, to earn money.
Yeah, not at all. No, not at all. And I guarantee, like, even on that note, like, I don't want to earn money from it. Obviously, I'd love to be able to quit my job and do DeeSports full time, as that's my passion. That's like a dream. If someone said, like, what's your dream? Like, oh, I want to be a DJ. Oh, I want to be this. Like, if you could tell me that I'd be a full-time Twitch streamer with a community behind me, that I can grow them as well. That's my dream. Like, that's complete. It. Yeah. Like, so this is why we're here, sat here talking about it this far in, like, because I'm pursuing it now, and it's mad.
Yeah.
I've realized that it is something that I can pursue. So, relating back again, the reason I started it was the lockdown. It was the pandemic, that everyone was uncertain, and I needed to, provide something for everyone that was out there, like me, that wanted to play video games. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to give them a platform to get into esports. And it's not just you could sit there and you could watch Twitch and watch all the pros play and stuff like that, but you would never actually get the chance to play in it unless you were that good. And that's the whole... Sorry.
As an outsider looking in, especially as well, because obviously I joined the tournaments as a competitor, as someone who was trying to compete.
That's how we met, by the way.
Yeah, we'll go into that after this. But as an outsider looking in on the tournaments, for example, it was... I've actually completely forgotten what I was going to say now, because you've just thrown me off with the...
Sorry. You came into the competitions as... So we actually met through you signing up for one of the DeeSports competitions.
So a lot of... That was it. That's what I was going to say. So obviously Call of Duty releases every year, around about November time, every year. So the most recent Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, they brought out this brand new game mode, which was called Warzone, which was Call of Duty's take on the Battle Royale vibe. Because the Battle Royale vibe last year, 2019, was doing really, really well for itself. Fortnite was booming. There was so many brand new Battle Royales that were coming left, right, and center. And this was coming off the back of Black Ops 4, which did have a Battle Royale mode, but it was called Blackout, and it wasn't that successful. So I think Activision tried their hardest to rework it into like a working Battle Royale that was, obviously Call of Duty themed. And Warzone didn't launch with Call of Duty. Modern Warfare didn't launch in November. Warzone actually launched in like February. Indeed. That was when Warzone fully came out. So I remember thinking to myself, oh, there's this brand new Battle Royale. It's called Warzone. And it's in... Because I don't know about people watching or you, for example, D, but I buy every COD. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll buy every COD. Because it's COD.
Yeah,
It's
you one of
it's
them
always
hardcore Call of Duty fanboys, yeah.
I wouldn't even
I'm
say
joking,
I wouldn't
I'm
even say I wouldn't even say hardcore fan, but you know, like it's always going to be a staple.
Yeah,
It's always going to be
I
like
have done as well, to be honest. Especially the boots on the ground kind of Call of Duties that come out.
I mean,
That's always been appealing to me.
even when we had some community rejected games like Infinite Warfare and like the latter of the Black Ops series,
Yeah,
when they were getting all like exosuits and jumping around and everything,
yeah.
like
That-
I'd still buy the game because it was
yeah.
a fresh
Same here.
perspective on COD every single year, and you were getting a new game every single year.
Yeah, same here. This is the thing. I think, relating to your point exactly, when we first started DeeSports, Warzone was free to play, and it was the biggest. It was like the newest, biggest battle royale like that anyone had ever seen, and I think that again backs up my previous point. Sorry,
a lot of the competition behind like how famous, well not famous, but how popular Warzone became immediately was, number one, it was coming off the back of Fortnite when people were starting to get a little bit like.
That's what I was just about to say.
It's getting a bit samey. It's getting a bit like, and it's more gauged towards the competitive play now. Fortnite is.
Well, can I interrupt you quickly there, because that is truly where I found myself getting into competitive esports. The Fortnite World Cup, like a year before, obviously I'd started playing Fortnite around season 3, so I was getting into it. And then by the time they brought out their actual competitive series, where it was like the first of its kind, to be honest, it was absolutely incredible. And that was the
in-game tournament system.
That was the best. That was the best, and I still think it is to this day, the best system that I've ever seen in a game, where it allowed any player to participate in the competitive scene, and it allowed them to get into the esports if they were good enough, if they were good enough. And
that's why we started to see like names crop up from the Fortnite esports.
Well, of course,
we'd never heard of before, because everyone knew about Ninja, and everyone knew about Tfue, and everyone knew about all the Scopes and everyone. But then you started to get these random players that would just spark up out of nowhere, and I'm like, where are these players coming from? It's the fact that anyone can jump into these competitive lobbies and work their way up to the point where they can play with the pros if they are good enough.
Yeah, and that's something that clicked in my mind straight away, because that obviously previously, when I mentioned me wanting to get into esports and having a platform that I could do that with, there was nothing until Fortnite came out. There was no way of doing that unless you went through gamer battles, but even then it was you couldn't really get into it. So let me just tell another quick story. So when I was playing Fortnite, and obviously the open series came into it, and it was anyone can play and all this, me and Jake, who as 1864, he's been in a few of the tournaments as well. He's my actual real life friend as well, that I as I said, we got into the competitive scene together, and Duos World Cup came out on Fortnite, and if I remember, it was like anyone could take part. You just got to sign up and you can just go into it. And I remember me and Jake at this point being like, oh my god, like this feels like our actual chance of getting to the World Cup. I know at the time we were probably nowhere near as good as any of the pro players that were going to the World Cup, you know what I'm saying? But it was that sense of competitiveness and the fact we had a chance, which gave me the drive to be like, right, we're trying it, we're smashing this out now, we're practicing, we're going to be doing this.
It was the ease of having a ticket to get into it, wasn't it?
That's it. It was the golden ticket kind of thing. It was like
there was an already implemented system into the game where all you had to do was click on the event and then click on play, and it would put you in, and you have to earn points, for example, to get up to the top. But it was there was no there's a sign up link here, there's this here, there's oh sorry, we can't take you because you're
not big enough or anything. There was and that was my point that I was going to say, is there's always barriers now. Whenever you want to try and get into competitive gaming, there's barriers, whether it's CS:GO, whether it's any League of Legends, any of the big names, you can't get to the part where you're earning money unless you are insane, unless you go through a different platform. And this is exactly the reason why I started DeeSports up.
That was the main thing, obviously, that Fortnite gave the best example of. Like, there was League of Legends tournaments, there was Halo tournaments, there was CSGO tournaments that were running tournaments of people that were already big streamers, people that were known to be good players because they are big streamers. Fortnite was the first one to go, right, everyone, have fun.
Yeah, that was it.
See how well you do.
Yeah. And that was inspiring for me.
I can see, a lot of the inspiration from DeeSports must have come from the idea of, like, we don't want, like...
There's no barriers.
There shouldn't be any barriers. There shouldn't be any, you have to be a big streamer to play. Like, you have to have some sort of audience about you. Like,
fundamentally, that is where I wanted to start. Like, I wanted to give anyone that was like me, that plays games, a chance to compete, pretty much, and a chance to join, private tournaments that are going to be good. You know what I mean? It's not like there's so many people that are out there doing private tournaments, where you can win these huge amounts of money and you can enter them and all this, right? Fair enough. If that is if that is what you want to do, then by all means, I love it. You know what I mean? That's great. I would love to take part in some of them myself. But the reason I started DeeSports wasn't just to give away huge amounts of money and run this competitive tournament side all the time. It was primarily to put on a show. Like, I want to be able to promote the players. I want to be able to highlight everyone that's doing incredible. Say we do get an amazing clutch up situation. Like, it is constantly about the players. And that's why I always limit the Warzone tournaments to 12 teams, because we trialed it with like 20 teams at the start when we were running the NHS charity tournaments, which we'll come on to in a second. And I realized that I wasn't getting enough camera time. Whoa. My watch is going mad. Up. Yeah, Siri's piping right up. I wasn't giving the players enough time on screen, and all I wanted to do was like show off the guys that had signed up to my tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to be like, yo, check these guys out. You know what I mean? Who even knows who these guys are? Probably no one, because they're just a group of lads that have come onto it to play in the tournament. But I wanted to make them feel like they were on the main stage on a live stream, clutching up, and you get what I mean? And it's all about giving them the sense of, it's how I wanted to feel when I was playing in tournaments. I wanted to feel like I was on that main stage, and I hope and I pray, as long as we keep this going, there will one day be where I can be on that main stage and have the same applies, have ordinary players that want to come into these sort of tournaments and give them that ability to be on the big screen and clutch up and do everything. But it's not about winning the tournaments and winning a lot of money and all this. If you want to go and make money off competitive esports, then it's probably you're not probably in the right place. You know what I mean? I feel like DeeSports is not about winning loads of money off tournaments. It's more about, if you want to grow as a content creator and you want to get into competitive esports, and you personally want to feel that energy and the show, you want to be on that main stage, like I say, like, this is definitely the place to be. Like, end of story. You know what I'm saying?
And I know a lot of the interest for me personally.
1 second, mate. Sorry to interrupt you. 1 sec.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry about that, mate. Just getting interrupted again.
That's alright, don't worry.
No, it's all good.
But
no, that's. I know I'm kind of. We've gone off on a lot of tangents here, but I feel like we need to stick to the points that we made at the start, because otherwise we're 45 minutes into the podcast already, mate, and it's I feel like we've not even covered some of the stuff that we wanted to cover.
Should we?
But listen,
start with...
No. We'll continue on to my point. There is like, so we've spoke about the reason I wanted to start up in terms of the gamers.
Yeah.
But there was also another side to it in terms of what I could do to give back. You know, in a time of uncertainty, I wanted to do something that I could genuinely give back and, you know, help as many people as I could. And that was definitely the NHS tournaments, the first 3 tournaments that I did. And let me give you a little bit of a background on this as well. So my mum works for the NHS.
Yeah.
And I knew straight away, I was like, I want to do something that I can raise money for the NHS, that basically. And me and my 2 friends, so Charlie and Jamie, they were the ones who I literally just went to, and I was like, boys, I've got this like passion, like I really want to try this idea. It's called DeeSports game, and I'm going to be running some tournaments on the new biggest game, you know, Warzone, that's completely free. What do you boys think? And they were like, yeah, like, Dill, we know what you're like. We know you love esports. Like, just do it. Like, stop talking about it and just do it. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I'm going to just do it then, right? So I set up the Twitch, I set up the YouTube, I set up all of, like, you know, everything that I needed to do. My stream at the time was like this, like the most simple layout, but obviously I'm quite of a creative person. So again, that was something that took me so long to try and sort out and tweak, because again, all I had in mind was, I don't care about how much money I'm going to be doing. Like, it was a charity stream. I was going to be giving the money away to the NHS, you know, all the donations and stuff that we got through. But you have to remember, I'd never done a stream before, ever. So I was like going into this thinking I was going to get 1 viewer and no one was going to, you know, like donate or anything. So straight away I was like, okay, doesn't matter if whether I'm streaming to 1 viewer or 100 viewers. I'm going to do this like I've thought about, and I want to put on a show, and that's it. So you have to understand something as well. I am not a shoutcaster. Like, I have never in my life thought about doing shoutcasting for any sort of sports or anything like that. And even in terms of, you know, looking confident on camera and stuff like that, I've never really had that either. It used to be something that, let me just take my watch off because it's going mad right now. Yeah, Siri's just like listening in. So again, it was one of those things where, like, I was not a shoutcaster. I didn't have any experience. I was like going into it blindly, you know. And I remember after I set everything up, the first tournament that we did, and to be honest, I was surprised that we even filled out the amount of teams to just run the tournament. I think we had 12 teams, I think it was. And we did like a quads, it was just like a quads Warzone tournament as we'd set up, but it took me like a month to set it up. And then the first one that came around, I remember sitting in my chair like this, I was like sweating. Like, I set up a green screen and everything right now where I'm sat. Like, my dad had like helped me set up this massive green screen with like these huge like lights, because he had like a photo studio that he uses for like his you know, special effects makeup and stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
And he let me borrow it, and I was like, I had this massive like lighted thing that was like propped up with like books and stuff like all everywhere, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm literally on that main stage that I was telling you about. Like, this is insane. And honestly, mate, I had no streaming experience, no shoutcasting experience, nothing, and I've never felt so in my element ever, bro. I got in front of that camera and in front of the lights, and I just thought, this is where I need to be. You know what I mean? I was like, why have I never done anything like this before? And it was honestly one of those things. Like,
you've seen Dilly D shoutcasting now, and we're in now, like end of September, almost October. Imagine him shoutcasting back in March.
I wouldn't even say it was shoutcasting. It was just shouting. That's all it was.
He had a full head of hair. Oh, it was glorious.
Well, that's another story, isn't it? We'll you can see that you can see that clip on the Twitch channel at DeeSports Gaming. The head shave was a milestone, definitely. So before we get onto that, obviously, ended up raising like, I think it was near enough £2,000 for the NHS. I can't remember the exact figure.
Amount. It was ridiculous.
So that to me as well was like, honestly, I cried after I donated the money to the NHS, because we donated it to a small hospital near to mine, called St. Anne's Hospital, and it was the hospital that looked after my grandma. And I know I said it a few times on the streams, when I was doing it, and like, it didn't sink in until I'd done the first 3 tournaments, and then people were actually donating, and like, there was that much support. I remember I averaged like 70 viewers on like some of the first tournaments, which was absolutely insane for like never starting. You know what I mean? And I think the fact everyone was in lockdown and there was this new game and it was just the perfect idea at the right time, it just made it work. And now I've realized that it's something that has worked, and I want to continue it on for as long as possible until the point until we grow to a stage where we can do it full time. Like that's my goal.
100%.
But I remember donating the money, man, and I was just emotional. Like my little sister ran in crying her eyes out. My mum and dad were just like crying as well. Like, and it was just like, I've done it. You know what I mean? Like I've taken the leap and it's paid off, and I couldn't be more happy. Like, so again, it was one of those things. And then the 100 sub head shave, that was another thing which I was just like, it started off as a joke. I'm sure it was you and Sam that literally started
how
it.
Started.
Yeah, you go
how
ahead.
it started.
You go ahead, man.
So I remember D was getting quite a lot of subscriptions one stream, and this is when I'm already involved at this point. I'm already behind the scenes. D's already spoken to me, which we'll talk about in a bit. And me and Sam, my friend Sam Skanoodle, who clocked me onto the tournaments, who got me involved with the tournaments. We were in D's chat during one of his streams, and he was getting like 10, 15 subs like a stream. Very, very, very generous people donating like 5 subs, 10 subs. And as a joke, I think I put in the Twitch chat, everyone was putting these ideas of like what you should do at 100 subs, because I put like, let's have a goal at like 100 subs. Like, what should we do at 100 subs? Because it was really rapidly approaching. It at the rate that we were going at like 15, we were already at like 50 subs. And at the rate we were going, another 3 streams and we'd be there. So we were thinking of ideas that we could do for 100 subs, and people were saying, like, obviously there was some jokes about like, oh yeah, get a big DeeSports joystick on your forehead.
I remember it all, man. Like, it was like I'd never experienced Twitch chat before ever, right? So I know what it's like to be in like a group chat, where like banter is thrown about, and I will never change the way I am, even when I'm on stream or even when I'm with a different group of people. Like, I'm Dilly, and that's it. Like, that's not gonna change. Exactly. Like, so whether you like me or hate me, like, it is what it is, because you just get the full shebang. And I'd never experienced a Twitch chat in its levels, and being someone that had never even streamed before, I was like, all right, yeah, listen, I'm never gonna get 100 subs. Like, let's face it. I was like brand new.
Maybe 25 people in the chat at the time that were all talking about.
This is during the tournaments, and all I used to stream was the tournaments. Like that, I didn't used to stream myself until I got affiliate, because then I realized I was like, I love gaming this much. Like, I'm just gonna start streaming as well, because I want to grow myself and my own brand as well. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's something that is hard, and it's definitely something that's like you've just got to dedicate to straight away, because Twitch streaming is not easy. Like, and I'm sure you can say the same thing, Jack. Like, it's one of those things that you have to commit to and grind.
It will 100% chew you up, and it will spit you out if you 100%. Don't pay attention.
But anyway, that's probably for another podcast. I feel like we could talk about, growing.
Either way, so we were at 65 subs maybe, and me and Sam are in the chat joking, saying to us, putting in the chat, little joke. We put, you know what, D, you should shave your head when you get to 100 subs. Completely. Get like a full number 1. Get all your hair buzzed off completely. And I remember at the time he was really skeptical, because, I mean, as a new streamer, you had no idea. You didn't think you were going to hit 100 subs, did you? You thought, you were like, there's no way I'll hit it.
And I definitely didn't realize like I say, what the Twitch chat can be like. I'm telling you.
100%. Because as soon as me and Sam dropped this little idea of like, oh, you should shave your head, and he went, and it took a little while because you were a bit like, I'll get it short, but I'm not gonna get it shaved.
Yeah. And then I think I just like gave a.
Yeah.
In my head I was like, right, I've never ever liked my hair throughout my life. Yeah, I was always pretty insecure about my hair and stuff, and I was like, I've always wanted to shave it, but maybe this is the time where I can
this is the
do
opportunity.
it for a good cause in a sense. So I was like,
exactly.
right.
So, after we dropped this idea of him shaving his head at 100 subs, and D was really skeptical, but then he went, you know what? Yeah, 100 subs, and I'll shave my head. In his mind, that meant I've got 6 months of hair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had loads of time.
Because no one's going to donate 100 subs. Let me tell you how fast you got to 100 subs. It was within...
It was less than a month.
Within the month. It was mental.
I think it was 2 weeks, maybe. I feel like I did two tournaments.
4 streams. I think another 4 streams you had. And we were at 100 subs.
I could tell you the exact time, but I think it took about 2 to 4 streams
like
though.
Yeah,
and
something like that.
People, and by the way, you're absolute legends, as I say every single stream. But like, that was just a different level. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. Like, that was a massive
highlight of a community coming together. That was
it was.
Highlight.
It was just like let's meme the fuck out of Dilly and let's not give a damn. And like, I actually loved it. I loved every second of it. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was like, I was like, oh my god, the thing that I'm so passionate about, and I'm so like, I'll just love it that much. I don't even care that I have to shave my head. You know what I mean? I got to a point where I was like, I'd rather. I'd literally rather the subs than my hair. You know what I mean? It got to whereas a lot of people thought like, oh, like maybe doesn't really want to shave his head, and like I knew at the time it was like a silly thing to do. But I honestly, with my own, like I came off the stream like when I reached 100 subs. No, sorry. When I reached, I think it was like 90 or 95 or something, and I knew next stream, I knew next tournament, I was having to shave my head, and we all knew about it on Instagram. I was getting messages off every single person saying like, "Oh, I bet you can't wait to shave your head."
Everyone was like, "Head stream, head shave, head shave."
There was hype about it, and it was funny because it was my own little personal version of like giving back to the community. I know that sounds kind of weird because it's like I'm shaving my head, but like you don't understand how important that was to me. It was like, oh no, I'm actually gonna have to shave my head next stream, and like I remember. In fact, let's watch the clip. I've got it.
Get the clip.
Yeah, I'm getting the clip right now, and we'll just watch it. Should we just watch the end? Should we just watch the end from where like? Wait, I'll start it.
Shaved.
Here we go. Oh my god.
And this was, I think, you know what?
Look at the hair, man.
I can feel it. If I'm being honest, wasn't this your dad's first time on camera as well?
First time, yeah. Zombie man, there he is. Big shout outs to dad.
This ain't growing back.
Look, this ain't growing back. Hey, thankfully, it's growing back a bit. We're all right. But look, fully bald.
Oh no, man.
The baldy emote was born. Look at this.
It's weird because that's such a staple in the channel now, in the community, the baldy emote.
And I just remember like, is there a way of getting the chat?
No. I got hair.
Let's watch this.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad, Dilly. You look like an idiot, mate.
What do you reckon, guys? Truthful opinion.
But I remember, bro. Do you remember how many people tuned in to watch that shave? Do you remember?
Look at the. I've got the chat up right here, like on the side, and honestly, there was just
how many people?
scrolls and scrolls of chat.
There was like, I reckon there must have been 75 people, maybe 80.
Oh yeah, 100%. There was definitely like over 50.
It was insane the amount of people
and the amount of love that, like, I know it sounds cringy and weird, but like the amount of love and appreciation that I got after it, like when I'd done it, it was like, it was more than just a head shave. It was like the money you'd raised for the NHS. It was like the fun and the entertainment that you've provided throughout lockdown. Like, it's been hard to find even 1% of fun, you know, because what else can you do apart from, and like everyone was just like, and you know who you are. Like, if you're watching it right now, like, I appreciate all of the messages and stuff that came through, man. Like, that's the stuff that like that put a smile on my face, brought a tear to my eye. Like, it was just emotional, man. It was so sick. So it was definitely more than a head shave. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I imagine in like a non-cringy kind of way, it's kind of why you do it, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, that is literally, like, the best way of me explaining it is, like, I've got it in video now, how much I actually care about the community. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to fake anything. I'm not trying to, like, take money off people or anything like that. Like, exactly. I'm trying to grow the community, and I'm trying to put in every little blood, sweat, and tear that I've got, and every little inch of hair that I've got, apparently, into this, man. And that's that definitely is the vision, and it leads me on to a really important point here, because we're an hour into the podcast, by the way. I can't believe we've been chatting for this long, mate. Honestly, I thought we were going to be struggling, but
that wasn't out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I could go for another
like
hour.
3 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But this is the thing, like, we're going to be starting these podcasts again just to have a diary of things that we're talking about, and hopefully come up with ideas and share with you guys if you are watching it. And if you are an hour deep into the podcast, thank you for being here. Like, that's insane.
Yes. GG's to you.
Big GG's going out to you. But this is the thing, it's like, want it to be more than just the streams now. You know, we're wanting to put out as much good content for you guys as possible. We want you to see a behind the scenes of us working on tournaments. We want to work with you guys, you know, on how we can grow the community. Like, we want to personalize it for you guys as well, because we can sit here and make decisions all day, but it might not be the right decisions that you guys want to see. So that's the reason we're doing it all, like, which is incredible. And that takes me on to our next and kind of final topic, really, is the vision of DeeSports. And I know we spoke about it a little bit at the start, but, you know, alongside this, you know, fun Twitch stream and, you know, the tournaments and everything, it's going to be more than that. You know, it's going to be this esports platform that
you can't succeed if you don't have a vision. If you've not got a goal in mind, you're not going to succeid.
Yeah, we'll just be going crazy. We'll all end up shaving our heads or something. You know what I mean? Like,
you need something that you have to work towards, like a goal or an idea or something along those lines. And so this, I know especially it's been prevalent for us both quite a lot.
Yeah.
This vision that we hold as like the holy Bible, the holy grail of DeeSports.
Yeah.
As like, this is where we want this to go. Because
it's the reason, I feel like it's the reason as well. Like, forget about me for a second. When we first met and, you know, you came in as a competitor, it's the reason you wanted to stay and help as an admin as well. You know, and this is something that I struggle with right now. I might as well just say it as well whilst we're on the podcast. It's like finding the right people to help you grow and not actually be able to, like, pay them, for example, is one of the hardest things, like, ever in terms of, you know, any business idea or any sort of goals that you have. If you can't, like, pay them with, you know, I mean, a lot of people go into things. What I'm trying to say is a lot of people go into things and, you know, they expect something in return, like, instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is something that is very hard to, from my perspective now, from, like, you know, me trying to grow a community that is still growing. You know, we're not like a huge multi-million-pound esports brand like 100 Thieves. Like, I want to be, but it's part of the process is having that vision, which we can, you know, which you've obviously taken on board, Jack. Is like, I'm not beating around the bush. I'm being as transparent with you as possible throughout this whole experience. Like, but there is that vision still, which we need to, you know, like you say, hold on to and just keep working towards, little bit by bit, podcast by podcast. And then, you know, if the community is involved and, you know, if you do support the dream and you want to be a part of it, then grow with us. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's not just going to be like two of us going, you know what I mean? It's like
100%. When I first, just really quickly, when I first started, in DeeSports, so I came in competing in one of the tournaments. Me and my friends were playing Warzone, and we were in that point of, I'm better than the casuals, but I'm not as good as the pros. So we were in this sort of mid-rift zone We were looking for something that we could do that could sort of whet our taste buds of like the pro life.
Yeah.
Because all of us wanted to be pros. All of us wanted to play COD competitively and try and play it for money because we were good. We were really good.
Can I interrupt you quickly? That's
Yeah,
exactly what we were talking about before. You know, when we said, you just worded it really well. Like that is exactly the reason why I've delved into the esports scene as well, is because there was no platform out there that gave your level of players, you know, the beginner to intermediate level, a chance of competing. Like that's it. And I know we spoke about it a lot before, but
there was tournaments for complete beginners and there was tournaments for all-star pros, but there was never a tournament for people who were better than because
people who cared about it.
I can honestly say, and this is not me trying to bravado my own ego all over the place, but I am and have always been better than the average player at most games that I play.
Yeah.
But I have never been as good as the professionals on Twitch.
Yeah.
Ever. So I'm in this sort of midriff where
it's the same for me, to be honest.
This is a lot of the community who enjoy the game casually and are, you know, semi good at the game. And this is the community that play it on Twitch and that earn money from it.
Yeah.
Because they stream, because they're
that's
big.
Another
and it
thing.
leaves this kind of like midriff here of people that like are really good but aren't good enough.
But it's something that I definitely want to mention is like we want to get to the point where we can cater for everyone. We want to be on that main stage and still allow beginners to take part in the tournaments. You get what I'm saying? You know, like the Fortnite.
100%.
That's the reason we spoke about the Fortnite system, is because we want to have open. That's why we've called it the open series, because anyone can take part of it up to a certain level. We want it to be like that. But we also want to cater for every single.
That's why our champion series exists as well, because.
That's another thing, yeah. The Champions Series that we tried, like, that is something that, as we grow as a community, that will grow as well, and we'll be able to do more and more tournaments, the more moderators and stuff we get involved, because at the moment it's been difficult because there's a small moderator team that I have, you know, working behind the scenes on the tournaments and stuff, and that is something that we definitely need to grow. So if there's anyone out there that's watching this and you think, you know, I want to be on board, you know, I want to take part and help out as much as possible, like, drop me a message, because I will have you on board. You know, if you're passionate enough as us now, like, we want you to help out. We want you to be a part of DeeSports, and that will only mean that we grow entirely and be able to bring more tournaments, new games to the scene. Like, and I tell you now, me and Jack have been we've been talking about a lot, but obviously we can only squeeze as much as we can into an hour long podcast. I know we've gone a bit over, but we've got plenty of new games and new tournaments coming to the scene.
We've got so many ideas that if we just had the backing of a great team behind us, a passionate team behind us, we could take this even further. We could take it even further. We are limited by how many people that we have behind the scenes at the minute.
And it's not like we're not like businessmen that like know how to scale a business and grow, and like, no, we're kind of gamers that have a passion.
We're just two lads. And
it's something that, the funny thing is, we're never going to stop. So, you know what I mean? And I guarantee you'll never find anyone as passionate as me. And I'm sure you say the same, Jack. Like,
100%.
You're not going to find anyone more passionate about it than us two, because I can tell you right now, hand on heart, like, it's all I want to do, and I'm always going to be pursuing it. It's just it's just about finding the right people. I feel like this podcast will definitely help. Like, if you've got to this point in the podcast, then you obviously care, you know, a little bit about it.
Exactly.
So if you ever did consider it, if you ever thought that you wanted to be a part of something a little bit bigger in the esports scene, then, you know, DeeSports Gaming is the place to be. It's growing ever so slightly every day. You know what I mean? And hopefully 100%. in a year's time, we can look back on episode 100 of the podcast, and hopefully we're all sat together, you know, no coronavirus. Hopefully.
We'll all be sat on a big table.
Yeah.
With a DeeSports joystick in the middle of the table.
That's what I'm saying. That's the goal right there. But as it is now, we have to adapt.
Yeah. So we did originally want this podcast to be together.
Together, yeah.
And we spoke to each other, proper Joe Rogan style with a beer,
That would have been cool.
Um,
But unfortunately, we are in the middle of a global pandemic, as we said before. It's still going
and we
on.
are
That's the thing.
respectful to our communities as young people.
Exactly.
But yeah, like Dee was saying, for example, we are very limited by what we can do at the minute because of the team that we have, and it's only really recently that we've brought on some more moderators and some more admins.
I feel like
because
that's so. Sorry, go on. I don't want to.
No, it's fine.
You
go on. It's all right.
No, I was just gonna say exactly on your point. There is like, I don't like using the word limited because like I work so hard on this. Like I'm every single spare minute of my day I'm on DeeSports. Like, and if you don't believe me, like. Fairs. But like I am like
100%. He has no.
I'm
he
always
doesn't do
coming.
anything else.
And the same applies to you, Jack. Like I feel like you commit a lot of time and effort into it, and it's not the fact that we're limited by the team. I feel like we have a good team already. It's just the fact that we don't have enough time in the day to physically get more tournaments out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, for example, if we
I'll-
wanted to run more tournaments, and this is why expanding the team would help.
100%, 100%. Because I can see the vision that me and Dee had for the longest time as having the different departments running separate tournaments individually by themselves. So like, who knows? Like a year from now, we've got a team of 20 mods and 20 like 20 admins or whatever.
Yeah, we can have weekly tournaments, and
we have weekly tournaments because we've got a team of 5 people who are doing this week's tournament. We can focus on another tournament that we've got planned for the next week, and we've got an editor working on a YouTube video. Like,
that's the dream right there. Like, that is the dream right there.
That's the kind of vision that we've got for this going forward.
Because if you can imagine, like right now it's literally just me and you. And obviously, the rest of the mods, you guys know who you are. Like when you're there to help, but in terms of running the tournaments, we're very limited. Say we wanted to introduce weekly tournaments now. Not everyone would be free at the right times. Not everyone would.
Exactly. We're having to cater a lot for the people that, like, for example, need to play on Sunday rather than Saturday, for example.
Yeah, there's just loads. There's loads. But I think as the community grows as well, the team will grow. Fundamentally, you know what I mean. But
100%.
We're looking for the people that are as passionate as we are right now, and that's why I think if you could literally get in touch with us if you wanted to be a part of it and understand the vision and understand why we're doing it now before we even grow that little bit bigger, because I know what's going to happen is like. I've seen it happen before with like the businesses that I've worked for. Like when you do grow and when you do get bigger,
and then we're gonna get the interest.
And then you get the interest, and I'd like it. I know it's a hard thing to ask for, but
it is.
If you are out there and you are a little bit like wanting to get involved, then just let us know because we want the people now.
If you're interested at all in anything, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to. You're not signing your life away. You're not signing your soul off.
Wait. This podcast, this end of the podcast has turned into a proper like job application video, hasn't it? So send us your CV anyway.
Email at interviews at
DeeSportsGaming.com. No, listen, it's not one of them. But the reason we started this podcast, and we spoke about this prior to it, is that like we want to be as transparent with you guys, the community, as much as possible. We want you guys to see an insight into what we talk about, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Because me and Dee will sit on these calls every week for at least 2 hours, just talking
probably
to each other
much longer,
about ideas. So we thought that it would be a good idea for people to see the behind the scenes, and not only that, we will also have a diary of all the ideas that we come up with. All the chats that we have, all the talks that we have, and like who knows, like Dee says, let's look back a year from now and see that we hit episode 100, and we revisit episode 1, and we laugh at how the fact that we're both sat in our bedrooms.
Yeah, and that's incredible, man. And I hope that we get to that point, and I hope we're still laughing as much as you are in these ones. Like I know we've rambled on a lot, and I feel like we've got. There's still plenty of stuff we've got to talk about, but we'll save it for another podcast because we have just gone over 1 hour 15 though. But insane, 20 tournaments deep. The vision is clear. charity tournaments. We're looking at bringing some new ones to the table. But again, this is all with due time.
All I can see is the horizon ahead of me.
I know.
And that is how
It's exciting.
we will continue to work.
Yeah, definitely. And just the final point before we do, close this one up is like, this is filmed before Cold War comes out.
Oh yeah, we have
So
much to talk about coming up. Oh my god!
I feel like
if you think Dee's been talking a lot this podcast, just you wait till Cold War comes out and everything spills out of me about Cold War.
Matthew's been doing his research. He's been getting into the nitty gritty, and it's
Honestly.
going to be nice. Yeah, we've got plenty of new style
Got
tournaments.
So many new styles of tournaments, so many brand new streams, so much new content coming.
Yeah,
You're going to be completely like, you won't have enough time to watch what we come out with.
that's what I love. That's what I love, man. We're going to be growing bigger and better. So let's call it there. But listen, 20 tournaments deep. I'm sure we'll continue to talk about the vision and the goals and stuff like that as we go through these podcasts. But there's a little bit of a background from us both, and obviously a little bit of an insight to the start of DeeSports if you weren't here for that part, because that, you know what I mean, that's always important.
Never
like I
forget
say,
your roots.
Just to close it up, yeah, I know we didn't want to sound cringy, but make sure to go and like, follow, and subscribe. No, I'm joking.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy.
No,
Make
no,
sure
it's-
to hit that subscribe button. None of that.
Listen,
none of that.
it is what it is. If you are interested in what we've said today, if you do want to become a part of the team and stuff, drop us a message in Discord. Join the Discord. We'll add a link in the description, or wherever you're coming from. I'm sure you'll be able to find the Discord somewhere. It's on the Twitch channel. Go and vote on the polls as well, because we are bringing some new tournaments to the scene.
We always run constant polls in the hashtag announcements chat in the DeeSports Gaming Discord
go.
channel.
Yeah.
And quite a lot of our decisions are influenced by our community. So if you feel like you want a say in what we do, this is your main route.
100%, yeah. All of the decisions pretty much are influenced by you
Of
guys,
course,
and that's what we want it to stay.
like a direct with the players.
Yeah, of course. But there you go, guys. Podcast 1 down, episode 1. Make sure to go and check out MadTube on his Twitch channel as well. He's just made it to affiliate. Go and drop him a follow. And obviously, DeeSports Gaming. You heard of us. You know us. You're here, chilling, locked into the podcast. So it is what it is. But thank you as well, Jack, for your time, mate. It's been a pleasure, as
No
always,
problem.
chatting away. And we'll wrap that one up. You guys have a great day and take it easy.
See you later, guys.
See ya.